I never have really been a big fan of the reality type shows such as People's Court, where two people argue with one another before a judge before they can get a judgment about the situation they're arguing about. In fact, I'm a little more into the court shows such as the 1936 classic with Moe, Larry, and Curly called Disorder in the Court. You know, a great ending there. They find the murder confession strapped to a parrot's leg. But as we think about judgment and judges and courtrooms, Solomon has a little bit to say about justice in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. In fact, he writes in verse 18 of chapter 3, "Moreover, I saw under the sun in the places of judgment or justice, wickedness was there, and in the place of righteousness, iniquity," or also wickedness, "was there. And I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work." We understand that Solomon initially says, I'm looking under the sun again, and I'm seeing evil. And I'm seeing evil in places where it shouldn't be. I guess that should come as no surprise to us, because really since the dawn of mankind, evil has been found in places where it shouldn't be. For instance, in the Garden of Eden, paradise, where holiness dwelled, evil reared its ugly head, and evil made its presence known. We look in the New Testament at Acts chapter 5, and we see the New Testament church, and we see all the great things that are going on, but then along come Ananias and Sapphira, and evil, again, manifests its presence in somewhere where you really don't think it should be. And yet we see that Solomon is observing this just like you and I do, but then he says, I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked. We must rest assured that indeed God will rectify all wrongs, and God will take care of all situations like this. This kind of reminds us of something that Jesus says in a parable in Matthew chapter 25. In fact, in Matthew chapter 25, we read that when the Son of Man comes in his glory with all his holy angels, with him, he will sit on the throne of his glory, and all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another as a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. And as you probably are familiar with what that text says, Jesus accounts to us that on his right side, he will put those who are the sheep. He'll say, "Come, blessed of my Father." And yet a little later in this parable, we will read that he says to those on the left side, those who are classified as the goats, "Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire." And we have to understand and take comfort in the fact that even though under the sun, like Solomon, we see evil, we see wickedness, we see iniquity in places where it should not be, where it does not belong, in the end of all things, God will judge. God will set all things straight, because God is the ultimate judge who can fix and will fix everything.